Hey, Mac Free Student Ministry, happy Tuesday. This is Deep Thoughts with Pastor Zach. This is a remix edition, so this is for high school students, and I am coming to you from my brand new basement studio. I set this up down in my basement. That's a picture right there of what it should look like. With the stricter stay-at-home orders, and I just thought, well, maybe I should quit traveling to and from church to record these videos, and so I set this up at my house for you guys. And so this is where I'll record these videos. This is where I'll teach from for Remix. Right now, it's a black sheet, but I'm hoping that I can find like a green sheet and then maybe do some fun green screen sort of stuff as well. So that's a little bit about what I have been up to. A few announcements for you as high school students. First, I want to remind you that the Social Distance Assassins kicked off this last Sunday, and that's been a lot of fun. A few of you signed up for that. We've already had a few eliminations, and so it's been really neat to get those texts from not only the students who are doing the eliminating, but those who are also texting me saying, hey, I'm out, and they're pretty frustrated. So it's possible that we might be able to do multiple rounds of this game, but right now this first round is it's pretty intense, and it's pretty fun to watch from a distance. Sunday night we talked about a high school remix reading challenge where we would read a book together and then maybe hop on some Zoom calls to discuss it. So the book that we're going to do together is called Beautiful Rebellion. By Brock Morgan. Brock's a youth pastor out east. Phenomenal book. I read it last year. It's written specifically for high school students. And in fact, when I read it last year, my heart was, I would love to do this book, to work through this book with a group of high school students. And so now our current situation gives us perhaps the opportunity to do that. So if you're interested in participating in that, in the comments there'll be a link for the Amazon page where you can order that book, and we can participate in that together, the high school reading challenge. Also, we talked a little bit on Sunday about what are you watching? Like, how are you filling your time? Are you watching anything fun on Hulu or Netflix or anything like that that everyone should know about? Like, let us know what you're watching, and maybe we could do like one of those Netflix watch parties where we watch something together as a group, and that could be fun. I'll tell you what I've been watching is I've been watching a TV show called The Chosen, and it's not on Netflix or Hulu or anything like that. To watch it, you actually have to go get the Chosen TV app, or you can go to vidangel.com and you can watch the whole thing there. And it's a TV show about the life of Jesus. And I know that could be really cheesy and like hokey, but it's not. It's so good. So if you're trying to figure out what that next thing, then the whole first season is all online. Like, you watch the whole thing right now. So if you're trying to figure out the next thing just give it a try, because man, it is so good. It's called The Chosen, and I highly recommend it. What else? Oh, you might have noticed that I am on TikTok. I'm trying to connect with you in any way that I can, and so shoot me your fun video ideas for TikTok, because I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, right now I've been doing silly videos with my son, so I'd love your TikTok ideas or whatnot. Show me how creative you can be with those videos. Sunday evening we're going to kick off a teaching series called Worth It. And Sunday night, what I'll probably do is, rather than teach on Facebook Live, I'll probably post a video Sunday around 7 o'clock. I'll post it to our YouTube channel, to the high school Facebook group, to the parents group, anywhere I can post it. And then a little bit later Sunday evening, we'll go live together on Zoom and be able to have some small group kind of conversation based on that night's teaching. I think that's what we're going to do, because Facebook Live makes no sense to me right now. I can't interact with you. You can listen to me, but there's a delay, and so we're going to do this smarter. So I'll post a video with my teaching, and then we'll move to Zoom to have some small groups, if that makes sense. So, but this Sunday we're kicking off a series called Worth It, and we're going to look at the Easter season, because to some people, Easter is all about candy and bunnies and eggs and Peeps, which are delicious. I know there are some Peeps haters out there, but you don't know what you're talking about, because what could be better than a marshmallow, but a marshmallow like covered in yellow sugar? It's so good. Peeps are incredible, but we know that that's not the whole story. Like we know that, because the truth is that you can celebrate Easter, you can have joy and celebration, and it's about victory, it's about Jesus' victory. But in order to get to Jesus' victory, we first have to remember the pain of Jesus' suffering. So in the next couple weeks, we're going to look at Jesus' final days and his death and resurrection, and as well as we're going to look at like how the early church responded to all of this. And what I hope that we'll see is that Jesus is the Jesus who suffers, and he suffers with us. And that the Jesus who now lives in us as well. I think it's going to be a really fun couple weeks. I'm really excited to dig into this teaching, and so that'll kick off this Sunday night. Now, every time I've done one of these deep thoughts, I've pushed this together devotional that we've been in, and I hope that you've been doing that, because man, it's been so good. And today's devotional is from Ephesians chapter 6. And as I was reading it, I was like, oh, I've taught on this before. Like, I know I've had conversations with the high school students about this, but as I read it today, in light of everything that's happening in the world, I was like, this is one of those things that it bears repeating in our world right now. And Ephesians 6, if you know it, is this whole section about the armor of God and putting on the armor of God. In fact, the devotional asked us to consider maybe what's one piece of the armor that maybe we need to focus on this week. But here's what I want you to see in this reading that was today's devotional. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. Paul says, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. For our battle is not against flesh and blood." It's not against. So during this time of like isolation, it's easy to get frustrated with people, isn't it? It's easy to start to blame other people for things. Like it's natural during this season that we can start to get on each other's nerves a bit, right? And we can get really mad at people. But remember what Paul says. He says if they have flesh and blood, then they're not who we're supposed to be fighting. That your battle is with the enemy. It's not with anyone who has flesh and blood, which, spoiler, is all of us. All of us have flesh and blood. So this week, as we look toward Palm Sunday, this Sunday, my encouragement for you is to love people. Love people. Love all people. Because if they have flesh and blood, our call is to love them. They're not the enemy. Are we tracking? Yeah, so that's a devotional thought for today. So as I wrap this up, as traditional, I will leave you with today, Tuesday's deep thought with Pastor Zach. Are you ready? Ready to write this down and tweet it and save it and memorize it and all the things you should do with deep, deep thoughts? Here is my deep thought. My deep thought is, I wish I had $1 for every time I spent $1. Because if I had $1 for every time I spent $1, then I'd have all my money back.